asked me a really good question. Why get another Mustang? Somehow, Mustangs have stolen my heart.
This is the second video of us working with our new Mustang, Honor. And what we're trying to do is figure out what it'll take to help him get more comfortable with us, earn his trust, and be able to handle him, and hopefully, step one, get that old halter off of him. In this segment, I'm experimenting with something that I've worked on in the past with a Liberty course I took that had a lot to do with matching up with your horse's steps. Honestly, I don't think this approach really got us very far.
Well, day 6 is the day that I had all to myself. I had the full day to spend with Honor, and Matt had to work, so it left me a lot of room to play around and experiment. And it had been over 10 years since I've had a horse that was this unhandled. And the truth is, with Khaleesi, she was pretty feral, but her early handling, the little bit that she had, was positive. And it's really likely that Honor's handling early on, being rounded up, just by the nature of what it was probably, in his opinion, pretty negative. So I do a lot of experimenting to see if I could possibly get a rope on him to move forward the timeline of just getting a touch in. My concern was not just that I'm impatient, but that when a horse gets entrenched in a worry, especially I've noticed if you're working with something the horse is afraid of, like a flag or a stick or a training tool, the longer that item does not touch them, but stays in the vicinity, the more they get entrenched in that fear, and the harder it is to get them to see that if you really just get a touch, they don't die. And in fact, you could turn it into a scratch or a rub or a positive experience. And that's what I was playing around with on day 6, was to see if I could get a rope on him, then could I get that touch in a little sooner and help him see that it would be okay.
I do not have roping skills, but even just taking this ring rope and being able to get it to drape over him and have him see that it's not going to kill him would have been a start. This rope is not meant to really be tossed in the loop successfully. However, I did give it a go. Not very well. The whole idea of just showing up with a rope in his pen was stressful for this little guy, and it was clear. So I gave it a little try, but I didn't stick with it too long because it was obvious that I was not going to be able to get close enough to help him out.
So far, I haven't been able to get a rope around him, and I'm not super handy with the rope. But he's really interested in Khaleesi, so I'm gonna go ahead and see what it looks like to bring her out along the fence line and see if that might interest him enough that I can get that loop around his neck and work him a little bit from my horse. Why not? Let's give it a try.
This little guy has been interested in the other mares, but you'll notice as soon as I touch that rope, he is out of town. So again, just even having that rope with us really made it so that we couldn't get close. And I played around with this a little, spent a lot of time just kind of waiting by the fence with her, and he really wasn't able to get close as long as I had that rope hanging out. So it was kind of a fun experiment, but it really didn't pan out.
Well, so far, most of our attempts at getting our hands on him haven't been successful and have been stressful for him. So I remember how I did this with Khaleesi, and it was small pen, low pressure, lots of time, and it looks like this will be my new home office for a little while. Yeah, we're gonna be friends, buddy. It's destined. Well, we're just gonna go this route for a little while and see where it takes us.
So far, the thing that's still working the best out of my whole day of experimentation is just asking him to bring his mind back to me, and then just looking for connection, even if it's at a little distance. I was glad to see on day 7 that after the stressful things that we had tried and experimented with on day 6, that the little guy was no worse for wear, and he was still coming up to about the same place he had been before, still glad to snack some hay or a carrot out of Matt's hand. And even though we still couldn't get our hands on him for more than just a bare touch, we were certainly not set back. And I'm glad this guy is resilient. And I also think it's because I was able to work with him in a way that wasn't frustrated or angry. It was more curiosity, and we kept that curiosity spirit through the day. And I think that served us well.
Why get another Mustang? Well, it's not because the first one I picked up was so easy and fun. I tend to be a straight line thinker, which can be a challenge when you're working with horses. It's true. They're not straight line thinkers. They ease their way into things and like circles, or at least circling around something that concerns them. So after talking to my friend Tom Motes about how things were going with Honor, I had an idea. Well, he helped me with this, was I don't have to get my hands on him or even a rope to be able to start working with him and communicating. So I began not only asking him to bring his thought to me and to focus on me, which we started on day 1, but I also started to ask him to take that thought over there and take his body with him. So I began directing him, and it's not about driving. This isn't round penning where you drive the horse and do join up. It's more a conversation of saying, where is your thought? Can it be with me? And then can I help you direct it in a different place? And that just begins a communication between us that I think will serve us long down the road.
Here you'll notice I'm holding a rope. I have no intention of doing anything with it, but because ropes tend to make him a little more weary, I thought it would be helpful to begin just carrying it around and doing normal things so he can see that the rope itself is not a threat. Here I'm just asking him to keep on moving around, just move his feet, but I'm not driving him. I'm going to block there. I didn't ask for a direction change. Then I'm going to point and ask him to take a look over there and then take your body and feet with you. And the speed, I'm not really asking for a trot, but I'm not very picky about that at this point. Just asking him to walk around, keep going, and then when I stop, he can center up with me, and then his mind should be back with me, and I'd love to invite him in. Ideally, I'd even maybe pet him on the forehead. Of course, that's a stretch today, but that's not too bad right there. Meanwhile, Matt has been having probably the best luck just going the old-fashioned route of food bribery, and he's very food motivated. Aww. And it's actually been the thing that's gotten us to bridge that gap of just getting him to see that we can make contact with him and it's not so bad. We don't usually work with food as a normal training source, but in this case, it's been helping us just, again, bridge that gap.
I always cared about the plight of the Mustang in America. I don't have an answer. I don't have a heavy opinion even of what should be done to fix this problem of overpopulation of wild horses. But one thing I can do is take one, and now two. And that's my way of being part of the solution. Well, Honor is getting more and more curious as the days go on, and we keep visiting him, spending time with him. Hi there. Hi. Yes, hello. He really wants to make friends, but it's a stretch still. Good boy. Let's go over here and talk. Where's he? Maybe get some here.
It still seems that the most productive time has been when we're feeding him carrots and reaching over there for a pet. And now you can see I'm actually getting some scratches in on the side of his face. And I try to grab his halter here and there and see if I can handle it. There's also just getting in there with him and cleaning out his pen and doing regular chores. And you can see here, he's really getting close to me, especially when he thinks maybe I'm not noticing. And here, just get a little touch, and I'm still working on doing some directing and centering his mind when we're in the pen together. And he's getting a lot closer in the physical space, which is progress. So here you can see me sending him. Go ahead, take a walk. And he comes in a little before I asked. But if he's willing to connect, I'm going to try to work with him where he's at. Certainly horses love food, but I believe they also are always searching for good leadership. So these are just some opportunities that I'm taking to have a lead in our conversation. And here you can see he's resistant to walking out again with his head up. He's a little stiff. And then there he takes a walk off. And eventually, I think this helps him make the decision to come in a little closer. Hopefully, he'll keep feeling safer and safer around us. The carrots still seem to be the winner for getting the most ability to contact, start working with that halter, and really get in there for some touch.
By the end of day 9, he had really let us start touching that halter, and I was pretty sure day 10, that's going to be the day.
So you can see on this day, we're getting a lot more ability to grab onto that halter while he's eating the carrot. He doesn't go as far when he retreats. And I can even start pulling on that latch flap. And it's just a little hard one-handed to get either of those undone. So at the end of the day, it seems likely that it's going to take a little more trust for him to let us get in there, and probably need 2 hands to get that thing unhooked. Even still, this is pretty good progress from where we started, and I'm confident that in a matter of time, we will get in there and he will learn to trust us.
For now, it's nice to know that we can touch him, give him some scratches, and that bridge has been crossed. Now we just have to keep working on getting him more calm and confident with us handling him.
Well, we're getting closer, but still can't quite do enough with that halter to get that dirt jammed buckle undone. But I think we're just a few days away. We'll see. Why a Mustang? At the end of the day, he's the one that came to us, and so we said yes. Thank you for joining our journey together, and I hope you'll follow along with future episodes to see how this little guy develops and what a great horse he might turn into. So like and subscribe and watch for further episodes. See you down the trail.